Today we're going to introduce you to using the spectral analysis program from Vernier on your laptop, as well as using the GoDirect SpectraVis Plus. I'm doing two videos. There's a capture of me actually performing the experiment as I discuss it, as well as the software running at the same time. First thing we need to do is go to our GoDirect SpectraVis Plus, and on the side we'll turn it on by pushing this little button. You'll notice that the power button comes on and the Bluetooth blue light starts to flash, indicating that it's trying to pair with our computer system. On the software side, we'll go ahead and click Connect a Spectrometer. It will start discovering devices. Now you'll notice that two SpectraVis Pluses have popped up. Which one is mine? You want to make sure you connect yours, because if you don't, you'll be collecting data for somebody else. If you look in the lower left-hand corner of the device, you'll see an ID tag. In my particular case, the ID tag is 0018659, which corresponds with this one right here. Don't click on the wrong one. You want to make sure you connect to yours, otherwise you'll be collecting data for somebody else. Nice thing about these SpectraVis Pluses, they can connect via Bluetooth, as we're doing today in the lab, or they can connect via a USB cable, which you may see in the lab at some point. It's connected, and you can see that the blue indicator light has turned solid blue. Alright, what I want to do is I'm going to take fluorescence and absorbance of a couple of dyes in the lab. So I'll click on Advanced Full Spectral. Alright, it's popped up this dialog box. It's going to ask us to calibrate at some point, so I might as well do it now. I'm going to go ahead and take a cuvette that's filled with distilled water. That is our solvent. That's what our samples are dissolved in. And I will wipe the sides with a Kim wipe and place it in the sample holder. I'll click Collect or Calibrate. You'll notice the dialog box pops up, says calibrate, wait 60 seconds for the lamp to warm up. There's also an active button that says skip. Do not push the skip button. If you do, you may have to go back and recalibrate, so let's try and not do that now. Now, we want to make sure that our cuvettes are aligned properly. In our particular case, most of the cuvettes that we use in the lab are clear on all four sides. If you happen to see or get a cuvette that's frosted on two sides, make sure that when you're collecting data, the clear path is the path for the light to pass through. When we're collecting absorbance, the light will pass from the left to the right, so we want to have the clear sides on the left and the right hand side. When we're collecting fluorescence, the path of light is either from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. So if you have frosted sides, make sure that the clear windows are in the path light when you're collecting your data. We'll just wait for the warm-up to take place. Short time, nifty instruments. Alright, a dialog box popped up on my particular software. We're running a little bit older version of software on the laptops in the lab, so you won't see this one, but you still need to click on Finish Calibration. This one actually tells you to make sure your cuvette is aligned properly and it's cleaned. I discussed that, and that the lamp is on and warmed up. We just went through the warm-up. I will click on Finish Calibration. It will do a calibration of our distilled water sample. Of course, it needs to be the solvent you're using. If you have a different solvent, that's what your blank would be. We're basically subtracting any of the impact that the solvent may have on our readings. It's subtracting or factoring it out. And it is calibrated. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start with my pink dye here. So I've got a cuvette with pink dye in it. I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the sides of the cuvette. Place it in the sample holder. I'm going to start off with the absorbance. Now I like to see my data in a bit bigger fashion, so I'm going to click on the table up here and click on meter, and I'll get a window here that says absorbance. I can go ahead and click collect absorbance. Again, the path light is left to right. And just like that, I've got a spectrograph of my pink dye. I will stop the absorbance. Now what I would like to do is I want to take a look at the fluorescence of this particular dye, or if it has fluorescence. I'll click on the settings cog, and I will change my settings or sensor mode to fluorescence. We'll give it a second. You'll see the lamps in the SpectraVis Plus changing. We'll give it a second to catch up, and you'll notice down here that I can collect at least one wavelength, and since there's a drop down arrow, there's probably at least one more wavelength. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at the excitation wavelength of 500. I'll click Collect Fluorescence, And there's my spectrograph. I will click on Stop Fluorescence, so we see a nice peak here. And as I said, we have at least one other wavelength we can look at. And if I click on the drop-down arrow, I can collect at 405 nanometers. Let the lamps change, let the settings get squared away. And it's ready, so I'll click Collect Fluorescence. And you'll see a spectrograph down here. I'll stop the fluorescence. And you've got your data for your first dye. I'm going to go ahead and title it by saving as. And I'm going to call this pink dye. Number 1. And save. Alright, excellent. Now I may want to go ahead and start a new experiment. I have a yellow dye here, so let's click up here and let's click on New Experiment. Again, I want to do an advanced full spectrum. I'm going to remove my pink dye from the sample holder. So I'll go ahead and click on Advanced Full Spectrum. Let the instrument warm up. And you'll notice that it says untiled up here. The instrument is just about ready. Awesome. Now, if I collect absorbance right now, if I click collect absorbance right now, it will prompt me. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do it. It's going to prompt me to go ahead and calibrate again. Should always calibrate between samples. So again, my sample is dissolved in distilled water. So I'll place my blank into the sample holder. We'll wait for it. You know what? Just for demonstration purposes, you should not do this, but I'm going to go ahead and click the skip the warm-up. And I'll finish the calibration. Do not do this in the lab. I'm doing this only for demonstration purposes. And it's ready. So I'll take my yellow dye, and again I will wipe down the sides of the cuvette with a Kim wipe, place it in the sample holder. As I said previously, I like to see my data, so I'll click on the table, click on the meter button so I can see the absorbance, and we click Collect Absorbance. And there it is, just like that. We can click Stop Absorbance. Okay. We'll come up to the cog. I want to look at the fluorescence of this particular sample, so I'll click on the fluorescence button. And again, we have two wavelengths. I'll just go ahead and leave it at 500 nanometers for right now. I'll click Collect Fluorescence. And it's done, and I can now click on Stop Fluorescence. Now, take note. I don't have a nice smooth curve on this. That indicates to me that my sample may be a little bit concentrated. It's clipping out. So what I'm going to do, and I'll do this off camera, is I'm going to go ahead and basically dilute my sample just a touch. So I'm going to dump some of that particular sample out. You can see that I've dumped some out. And I'll take some distilled water and place it into the cuvette. Give it a little shake. Okay. I'd like to see the actual wavelength. And let's see if this helps. I'll collect fluorescence again. And we're still clipping out a little bit, so I can go ahead and dump a little bit more out. I'd like to see a max intensity of about 1. We're getting close. So again, I'll just take a little DI water, pop some in there, give it a little mix. And let's try one more time, see what we get. Okay, much better. See how I don't have that clipping anymore, and I'll stop the fluorescence. Now, since we know we have two wavelengths we can check the fluorescence at, I will go ahead and change it to the 405. The lamp will change in the SpectraVis Plus. I'll give it a second. and I can go ahead and collect my fluorescence. And there's my spectrograph. I'll stop the fluorescence. There it is right there, the 2 fluorescent wavelengths. I can go ahead and title this as, save as, we'll call this yellow dye 1. And we'll save it. And you can go ahead and go on with your experimental work with whatever else you need to do. You can look at the data. It's really pretty cool because you can actually come up here, you can rename the data set. It tells you what it is, it tells you the wavelength. You can toggle them on and off. Toggle these guys off. So it'll take away some of the graphs. So that's my clean data without those clipping out values. And you can go on with your experiment. Now, to shut down the SpectraVis Plus, all you have to do is hold the button on the side for about a count of 5, 1, 2, 3, or so, and it's off. And you're ready to go on with the rest of your experiment.